Have you ever had that sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize you're locked out of something important? Happened to me the other week when I lost a password for something that I needed to get into. Imagine that feeling, but when it is related to your entire business. Today, I want to talk about how many small business owners might be putting themselves at risk without even realizing it. We're going to chat about the essential digital assets. The title of this episode is Six Website Things because I hate the term digital asset. It's such a chat GPT term, but that's what they are. Your digital assets that you actually need to own. And when you don't own these, they can cause a lot of problems for your business down the line. So today I wanted to go through the list and make sure that you yourself own these actual assets. And if not, I'll share with you how to take the next steps so you can get ownership and have full control for your business. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high-performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Hello and welcome back to the pod. I'm so excited to have you here. Today's episode was inspired by a recent client that I had, and we actually discovered that she didn't have control of two of these assets. So we had to go through a process to get back control. This is a really common thing, and that's why I wanted to put this information out there. If we haven't already met, I am Jenny B. I own Jenny B Designs. We are a brand and web design studio. My passion is helping small business owners design a beautiful, but more importantly, strategic website that is rooted in marketing, that attracts your ideal clients and makes you money. I like to simplify the process for my clients. My builds typically take about 4 weeks, and I like to equip them with everything they need to have complete ownership of these websites and to be able to update them themselves if that's how they would like to move forward. When you work with me, I train you on how to use your website so that in the future, if you need to make a blog post or you change some services or want to update your photos from a recent brand shoot, you can because you know how to do it. And you own all of the assets, these digital assets that are related to your website. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. There are 6 things that I've identified that you should own for your business when it comes to your website and your brand. The first one is probably the most important, and this is your domain name. This is the foundation of your online presence, your being. It's everything from your website to your email to how you represent yourself online. It is what comes after the www dot. And people actually don't even use the www anymore, if you notice. For me, it's jennybdesigns.com. That is my domain name, and it is essential that you own this. I find, and this happened to my clients, that sometimes when they work with a third-party application, for example, she was a therapist and she originally had a website that was built with a provider that works with just therapists. I've seen this a lot for chiropractors, eye doctors. There's these companies that work with all of these types of businesses, and they help you get started. And it's great because you don't know what to do when you're starting out. You contact this company and it takes care of everything for you. What happens in the process is that you end up not owning a lot of these assets, and the domain name is the first thing that is essential for you to own. I suggest that you buy your domain from a provider such as Namecheap that provides free privacy to you, which means when someone looks up the domain online, it's not going to display your address and your personal information when someone looks you up. It has that free privacy attached to it. The important thing is that you own this. You know how to log in and you have access to this domain. And you have auto renewal on, because I will say, if your domain expires, you will no longer have access to your website and your email, and potentially someone else could come in, swoop up your domain name, buy it from you, And you will never be able to have that domain again unless you pay some crazy amount that they want to get your domain back. This is a foundation. This is probably the most important piece that you need to own. And it doesn't cost much. A typical domain on Namecheap is about $12 a year. That's all it costs. But you need to make sure that you own this asset and that you have auto renewal set up. Because again, you don't want to lose that domain. It is that important. Number one. Number two is your website hosting. This applies to when I work with someone in WordPress. That's my builder of choice. There is a website host, essentially where your website lives. We are buying space for someone to have hosting for your website so people can actually see it out in the interwebs. I traditionally recommend my clients use a service like ICDsoft. That's my favorite provider. I find that their customer service is amazing and they are reasonably priced and very good on speed and everything else that you need to have. But there are all sorts of providers, SiteGround, WP Engine, of course, there's a GoDaddy and the Blue House out there. Wherever it is, wherever you host your website, if you have a WordPress website, you need to own that hosting plan. You don't want your website designer or your marketing agency to own that hosting. You want to make sure that you own that hosting. You can get into that account and that you can access backups and reach out for any questions. That is the second asset that you should own. This also applies to if you have a Squarespace website, a Showit website, Wix. Those all have hosting built into the actual plan. Make sure you're the one who owns it. Even if someone has set it up for you, they should be able to transfer it to you at the end of the project. That's essentially what I do for my clients. I don't want them to have to go in and do all the things behind the scene and quick question. Are you frustrated with your website? Not sure why it isn't converting? I would love to help. That's why I offer my website coaching calls. In just 50 minutes, we'll uncover what's holding your site back and create a plan to fix it. Whether you need help with design, content, or strategy, I'll give you the clear steps to move forward. Click the link in the show notes to book your coaching call today, and let's make your website your best marketing tool. Now back to the episode. All these technical things. So I open up all these accounts for my clients, but I transfer them over to my client before the end of the project. When they walk away, they own these assets. So number one, your domain name. Number two, your website hosting. The third asset, kind of simple, but your actual website. You need to have administrative level access to your website. I don't believe that Squarespace and Wix and Showit, you can limit the access for logins, but in WordPress, you can. In WordPress, you're able to assign users different levels of access. And I see this a lot for clients who have WordPress websites. They were built by an agency or another designer, and they were given editor access to their website, meaning they can't do more of the sophisticated things. They can only log in and do simple requests, or maybe not even make simple requests. You need to make sure that when you have a website built by someone, that you have full access to the website and you can do anything that you need to do. That's how I leave it for all my clients. They're able to access everything that they need to do with their own website. That's number 3. Number 4 is your email accounts. Your business email, of course, is separate from your personal account, and it goes back to your website URL, your domain name. You have your email account. You need to make sure that you can access this email account. This goes back to my therapist that I mentioned earlier. She had one of those platforms where they build everything, the website, they get the email set up, and they buy the domain for her. They were doing all of this on the back end, her email. They also had access to this email account. She could get into it, but she didn't own this account. Make sure that you own your email account, be it with Gmail or anywhere else. Most likely it's probably through your hosting provider or Gmail is where you're getting your email from. But make sure that you can access that email account, especially since you might want to change email addresses. You might have new team members. Maybe you want an alias. Perhaps, your inbox gets full and you want to make sure that you can make some changes to it. And of course, access the backups. Ensure that you have control of your email account. Number 5, this is your social media profiles: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever accounts you use to connect with your audience. And here's the thing, a lot of people miss this, but your social media profile should be working with your website. I actually host a workshop, the Small Business Online Makeover, where we talk about matching your social media presence to your website. There should be cohesion there. When you go to one, you should understand that when you go to the other, it's the same business. You need to work together. They are the social media profiles. They're like inviting people over to your website, your digital home, and they play a big part of your marketing pipeline. When you think about your social media accounts, I see this a lot where when businesses are starting out, they hire this marketing agency and the agency sets up their social media profiles, but they're using the agency's email address, right? They're not using your actual email address. So they're the only ones with the password. Maybe they give you access to it, but you don't actually own these accounts. And this is going to cause a problem down the line. If anything happens with the agency or you want to be able to make changes to your account, you need to be the administrator. Taking a quick peek at all your social accounts, just make sure that they are registered with your business email, which goes back to owning your own domain, making sure you have control of that own domain and you can get back into your email accounts and that you own those. And if you did work with someone who set it up, make sure that they are making you the admin, they transfer the account to you, and then you can still give them access. There's, business manager that you can let them manage your account, but they don't need to own it. And I might even suggest that you enable two-factor authentication on all your accounts. Connect your phone number, not someone else's phone number. Remember, your website, of course, is the first asset that we're concerned about, but then you want to be able to also connect with your other online assets that create your online profile. These are your social media platforms, so you need to make sure that you own all of these profiles. And side note, if you want to know which profile is working the best for you, take a peek at your Google Analytics and see which of these platforms is actually sending traffic to your website, so you know which one you can focus in even more. And then finally, you need to own your visual identity. What is this? This is your brand. And maybe I should have started with this one as number 1 because it is so important. But of course, I'm coming from the website lens. So to me, domain is number 1. But you need to own all of your logo files and your variations and have a brand style guide so that you can ensure that you're using consistent brand fonts and brand colors across all of your assets, your website, your social media platforms, anything that you create. And make sure that you have custom photos, brand photos, or stock photos that you use as part of your visual identity, and that these files are stored safely on your computer or wherever you keep your files, if it's on the drive. But they are in your drive. You own them. You don't have them on the logo designer, the graphic designer who created them for you, not on their drive. You want to make sure that you have them on your drive or your computer, that you actually own these files, because this is the essence of your brand and it's how everything else is built online. You want to own these assets. And so there you go. These are the 6 essential assets or things, as the title shared, of your business that you absolutely must own yourself: your domain name, hosting, website access, email accounts, social media profiles, and your design assets. And remember, they're not just things that you need to have. It's not just because I told you to do that, but these are really the foundation of your business's online home. It's what allows you to show up in the world as you, what makes your brand your brand. And you need to be able to make changes when you need to. And most importantly, you need to keep these secure because you should own these. Now, I don't want you to panic if you realize during this episode that you might not own one of these pieces. That's why I created this, because a lot of business owners don't even realize what they should be owning until it's too late. I gave you 6 things. Go through the list and figure out what you own, what you don't own, and then make a simple plan to do what you need to do to get those back into your control. And if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure where to start, then my website coaching call might be a really good fit. We can go through everything together, identify any gaps in ownership, and make a clear plan so that you can get control of these assets. You can book a link in the show notes. Thank you so much for listening, and I will chat with you next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.